Savvy. How are you? Now, I'm not going to be able to come on live on the weekend because, as you know, our podcast is not going to be live until I return back to England, which is going to be in a few weeks, stroke months. So I'm going to be coming on live and having a conversation with you, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful people, because I want to support your journey. Now, I'm just going to maybe take this out because I want the sound to be good out here. There's going to be a lot of Right. Can you tell me if you can hear me? Hello, Enlightened Nay. Hello, hello, hello. How are you all? Thank you, Mister. Um, I'm so glad you think so because YouTube has a way of making all of us look super, super unattractive. I don't know what it is with the YouTube platform, but thank you. That's just made my day. Okie dokie. So, what are we talking about today? Talking to the girls, especially, but also I think the men can learn a thing or two. Let me see if I can get this to stand up right. I tell you what, I hate managing my own tech. Hi, hi, hi. Okay, so I am out here in the USA. Nothing can make you look really. Oh, thank you. You're very charming. I think we need more men like you in the world. All right, so I'm going to try not to stay here too long because I've got a few errands to run today. I've been creating a lot of content. And just before I begin, as we all pile in, today we're going to be talking about um, how to get married in 2024. It's really very important that we pay attention. There's some conversations I've been having with my niece. Can you all hear me? I hope you can. And I'm hoping this is going to last because I charged it. So the moment you can't hear me, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'll be talking to myself for forever. So I have been staying with my niece, and she is 29, and she's been getting a lot of auntie lessons. And I realize how many of those lessons I haven't shared with my community, or I've shared in little bits and pieces, or I've shared in tiny little ways, but not really kind of taking the time to really support you because there are some conversations that happen between aunties and nieces and mothers and daughters that many of you don't get to have either because you didn't have a mom, or she didn't know herself, or she wasn't present. So and also because a lot of moms are not experts, right? They're just trying to make it work like everybody else. I'm just checking to make sure that everybody can hear me. So I am currently in New Hampshire, in a lovely little town, and it's a really beautiful place. And I am going to be everywhere. I've been to Vegas, I've been to New Orleans, I've been to Nashua. I've been to so many parts of the US, so I'm really, really excited. Yes, auntie, it's auntie, it's auntie. So yes, I've been to so many places. So I've got a lot of places to go here in the US. I might not do it all in one go, but I'm definitely going to try and do as many states as I can and as many cities as I can because I want to see this beautiful country. Okay, let's get into today's video. I've actually done a reel that's going to be coming out at some point because I don't schedule my videos. My team do that for me, but it will either be coming out on Instagram or YouTube on this. So you're going to get all of these points on that reel and it'll be pointed to this video. But I didn't get to explain a lot of these things on that reel. So I want to be able to have the opportunity to sit with you and really get deep and down with what I mean. Okay. So number one, the way we are going to get married, and I know this is gonna hurt. So I want you to be, prepare yourself, take a deep breath, sit down. Because when I say this thing, all of your fears are gonna come to light and all of your trauma is going to surface, and all of the things that you've seen and heard that are horrible in the world are going to come to light. But I want you to just breathe through it, and let me explain and break it down to you, okay? Because this is such a pivotal, important, crucial part of any woman, any man that wants to genuinely have a family, children, or even just be married, because some of us are not at the stage in our lives where we're trying to have kids anymore. I get it. I'm in that stage. But we want to be in healthy, supportive, loving, harmonious, um, expansive relationships, right? If that is something that you want to do, Nora, I hope I said that correctly. Hello, Nora from Kuwait. I'm so glad you caught me as well. Being in the US actually allows me to catch a lot more people than when I'm in England because the time difference is so seem to be quite big in England. I'm so glad to have you here. Now, I also want to say before I get into it that I have the Man Magnet Mastery Program coming up. Ladies, I have made this as cheap as I possibly can. You're going to get £3,000 plus of course access for 7 weeks. So every course I've ever created will be that is in the Blackstone Relationship Academy that would cost you over £3,000. You're going to get that access to that for 7 weeks. You're going to get access to myself, to some of my expert friends. Kit, who you've seen on this channel, has agreed to come and answer some questions and give you some game. Greta, who you know, a friend of mine, ladies relationship coach, she will be here giving game. So, and I'm going to bring in more experts to help us out because I want them to bring in a new angle, a new perspective. So, this next 7 weeks that begins on the 2nd of August, today is the last day, I believe, of the early bird price. The early bird price I think is 797 and you can pay in installments. So if you have PayPal, you can pay in installments. You're going to be okay. And if you want to you need more payments, just let us know. Email admin at Blackstone because I want you to be on it. I can only take 12 people and we are running out of spaces. But I do want you to take advantage of this because for some of us it might be still expensive, but it's definitely going to be life transforming. Okay. And I am doing all I can to make things as financially accessible as possible. But it is what it is. So let's get into today's video because before y'all decide you don't want to play with me anymore. Okay, so we're not having political conversations here, please, ladies and gentlemen. We're just not having that conversation. This is not what we're trying to do here. And I don't want to have to put anyone in timeout or throw you out. Okay, we're talking about love. Love. Okay, and this is problematic. If you honestly can't get out of this, then we're experiencing trauma right now. I understand there's a lot going on in the US right now. I'm aware of it. But if we're really kind of heightened to the point where we can't focus, then we need to probably see a therapist. Okay. I understand, but we should be able to switch off one part of life and switch into the other because at the end of the day, regardless of who's in office, you still have to live your life. You still have to figure out your love life. And I also want us to be considerate that we have people coming in from all over the world. We have Kuwait here, we have Africa, we have places from all over the world, and I don't think anybody wants to be bogged down with politics right now. So let's just reframe and come back. Okay, now no more delays. Let's get into it because I know for the ones watching the replay they'll be annoyed. So the first thing I'm going to say now that we're totally comfortable. New York, welcome. I'm in New York this weekend, so woohoo. So the one word is settle. If you're going to get married in 2024, 2025, 2026, 2020, 18, 28, you are going to have to settle. Now, like I said earlier, don't get your knickers in a twist. I'm going to explain what I mean by settle because I know that usually I would never tell anyone to settle. And neither am I changing my mind, but I'm using the word settle just to jar our nervous system a little bit, just to frazzle us because when we're frazzled, we're more susceptible to new ideas. Okay, that's why I'm using this word because I want you a little bit frazzled. Texas, hello. I want to come to Texas. I'm hoping to make a trip to Texas. All right, settle. So research has shown, I think a study was done by Harvard University a few years ago where they interviewed a lot of couples and that have been married for a pretty long length of time. And, what they found were certain patterns. What they found was that the couples that were harmonious, happy, comfortable in their relationships only got 51% of what they originally wanted in a mate. Right? Oklahoma, yay. They only got 51% of what they wanted to make. And this is not the average couple. This was the couples that were actually doing well, flourishing, prospering, had that relationship that is comfortable to be around. My sister and her husband have that kind of relationship. They're lovely to be around. They don't bicker. They're really comfortable with each other. They're like little twins. They almost look alike. They're fantastic to be around. And that kind of relationship, when I was with my sister this weekend, she is very content, very happy, very comfortable. Okay. So you get 51%. I know some of your pastors and your friends have said 80%. That's in another world, another planet, another, world completely. The reality of it, and most married people will tell you 51% is a lot. So let's say you came to the table, these people came to the table with a list of 100, a list of 100 qualities they wanted in a mate, 100 things they wanted in a relationship. And when they finally found their partner, got married, they stayed married, had harmonious relationships because and what turned out in the survey when they did the study was they actually realized they compromised, they had to give up 49% of what they wanted in a relationship, and they found harmony. Okay. Now, these relationships are relationships. I want us to first of all really recalibrate, and I do this with my one-to-one clients. And like I said, I'm having these conversations with my niece because I think if we can really recalibrate and bring ourselves back to balance, okay, we are going to succeed, and we're going to get more marriages, and we're going to choose better, and we're going to be more patient with the process, and we're going to select different when we understand certain things. Okay. And we're talking about women who are dating for marriage. If you're not dating for marriage, none of this applies. If you never want to ever get married in your whole entire life, none of this applies. If you're delusional, none of this applies. If you're contentious and you want to be right about everything, none of this applies. I'm talking about women who are on a learning educational journey, women who want to be black swans, women who want to create healthy love lives, have children, have a family, or not even children. Like I said, I'm not looking to have children, but you are looking to have a healthy relationship. We have to bring things down to the truth. And the reality of it is 51% is all you're going to get. And so, what I say to my clients when they respond the way that you are, like, what? Are you kidding me? 51%, right? It's really very hard to cope with. It's really hard. It's a hard reality to deal with. But 51% is all you're ever going to get. For those of us who are women of faith, which I suspect is most of us, it's because of two reasons. God created it that way so that we never need anyone, so that nothing in this world will ever satisfy. Let's think about our careers. We only ever get 51% of what we want in a career. The rest of the stuff we hate. We hate the journey, we hate the travel, we hate our boss, we hate certain things that we have to do, even as a business owner. I'm only ever going to get 51% of what I ever wanted as an entrepreneur, because the rest of the stuff is hard work, it's difficult. Why do we only get 51%? Why do we seemingly get so little? For two reasons. The 49% is supposed to come from within yourself. Okay, you are supposed to provide 49% of that. What that means is that when we go into relationships, we have to come in half full, right? We're not expected to fill ourselves completely. That's why we're hardwired for connection, right? So even God doesn't want us to completely meet all our needs. You cannot meet all your emotional, spiritual, physical, natural needs by yourself. You need another person. We're hardwired to connect and to be fulfilled as a result. So you are supposed to come into the relationship at 49% full. The only way you're going to come into the relationship at 49% full is if you've been taking care of your needs, knowing what they are, knowing and living your best life, really challenging yourself to go out and visit those countries you've always wanted to visit, and stop waiting until you're in a relationship, taking care of your body the best way you can. My body right now is in perimenopause, and I'm getting used to being the new me, the new weight, the new look. I'm getting used to it. It's not easy, but I'm taking the time to attend to loving myself the way that I am. No matter how many times I go to the gym and how clean I eat, it is the body that I have. Wherever you are in life, whether you're perimenopausal or whatever stage, you have to learn to love that body, right? Because you can't wait for a partner to come and make you feel that good about yourself. You already have to be there. So there are a lot of needs that we're waiting for a partner to meet. That's why 51% seems so low, right? 51% feels like what, right? But remember, that's in healthy relationships. Some people are getting, thank you so much, Nora. Some people are getting, 10% of what they want in a relationship, and they're filing for divorce. People are getting way less. So if you can really work your way up to 49% of who you of filling up your own cup, right? Then that 51% doesn't seem so little. It actually feels nice, doesn't it? If you're thinking, I come with 49 and somebody brings that extra 2% in, I'm winning, right? They bring in that extra and they come and double down on what I'm already giving myself. Not only is that an important thing for you to be satisfied in a relationship, it's important for you to choose the right partner, because now you're not looking for somebody to fulfill all your needs. Now you're not looking for somebody to tell you you're beautiful. Now you're not looking for somebody to give you an experience of yourself that you're not able to, that you were never able to give to yourself, right? When we heal our wounds, when we go through trauma therapy with Ashani, our counselor, and we come into the Black Swan Relationship Academy and we do the Soulmate Attraction System course and we do the deep work, we are learning to meet those needs in a deep, meaningful, powerful way. Okay. And that's why I created the Soulmate Attraction System course, because I wanted us to meet those 49% of our needs wholeheartedly. And you know what happens when my girls do them, especially with a coach? They meet their partner even before they finish the course. They meet their husband. Women who never thought they would ever meet a partner at any age, at any stage. Because why? At 49%, you're vibrating at such a high frequency. So many of us are operating in life at a 2%. Right, we're operating at 2, 3, 5%. It's very rare to meet a woman who's, so many women are needy, so many of us are desperate and lonely. That means we're vibrating at a 10%, at that vibrational level, because we're energy, aka we are spirit. Spirit is energy, it is life force, right? So we can agree that spirit is energy. And that energy, every piece of energy in the world, everything, the fact that you can see me means my physical body is vibrating at a lower frequency. That's why you can see it. But the things that vibrate at a higher frequency, and I've discussed all of this in the Energy Mastery class. Again, a course that you will get access to for 7 weeks in the Man Magnet Mastery Masterclass. Okay, so when we're talking about the vibrational energy that brings in a 51% partner, right? You need to be at 49%, which is why I hop on and on and on about your personal work. Okay, now let's say you're not going to do this, or you've done this. What is blocking you? What is blocking you from actually getting married in 2024? Let's talk about conditioning. Let's talk about peer pressure. Let's talk about Instagram. Let's talk about the world that we're living in and the things that are holding us back. Okay, this is such a multi-leveled, multi-dimensional conversation that I'm not going to have necessarily on here, because we don't have all day and I've got to be somewhere else, but also because you can access us to have that conversation. And if you follow all my work on your Instagram, and you're going to pick up on those other layers in small bite sizes. Okay, so but in this particular video, because I'm seeing it way more often than I would like to. In this particular video, I'm going to talk about the issue of settling. Okay, what? At 51%, you are settling. You are settling for 51%, right? So if you're not getting 100% of anything, you are settling for 10% of the time, right? So I went to buy these jeans in Express. I love Express, by the way. You Americans are so lucky to have Express. And I wanted high-waisted jeans. Looked everywhere, couldn't find high-waisted jeans. If you know where I can get high-waisted jeans here in the US, please do let me know. Okay. I wanted high-waisted jeans. And I wanted flared jeans. I wanted to give myself a little bit, because I usually wear skinny jeans. So I go in, I can't find high-waisted jeans. But guess what? I see a really nice pair. They're kind of, normal waisted, but they got beautiful bell bottoms. They're giving me the space that I need. Fantastic. I didn't get 100% of what I wanted, but I settled for something that actually works. That's comfortable. They're very comfortable. They work, and they give me the style I'm after. They give me the mobility, everything that I was looking for in jeans. So what I did was compromise. So let's swap the word settling for compromise. I know compromise is going to feel better, but it's not going to rattle your nervous system in the way that I need it rattled. Okay. So if you're really struggling with the word settling at this point, you can shift to compromise. But sometimes we don't really know what we're compromising. Sometimes we're compromising the wrong things. Okay, so where can we have some movability? Number one, you need to do some work about your personal core needs. As an individual, you have core needs. There's some things you have to have in a relationship to feel comfortable. Not happy, but comfortable. Because I'm going to tell you something. There are no happy marriages. None. But there is happiness in marriage. There are many marriages that experience more happiness than not. There are no peaceful marriages, but there are marriages that experience more peace. right? So I want you to understand that relationships are relationships. They're going to come with a bit of, push and pull. They're going to come with difficult moments. But if we know our core needs, then in those moments where things are just horrible, if that core need is being met, we can stay. Right. So, a core need is that thing about you personally and individually, specifically to who you are. My battery's going to die in a little while. So if I don't finish this episode, I will come back on live and I will finish it. But, you know, the one thing on a bad marriage day, right? This is a bad day in marriage, a bad day in relationships. You're going to stay because fundamentally a core need is being met. So, for instance, one of the commonest, if you like, the most common core need of most women, not all, is financial provision. So on a really bad day where you hate him, you think he's the spawn of the devil, you don't know what you were thinking when you married him, okay? Or her, if you're a guy. For a woman, at least he's taking care of me. He's paying the bills and I don't have to worry because that's a core need that I am provided for. Okay. For some women, that is not a core need because they can provide for themselves or whatever the issue is. So a core need is something like he can provide. He provides. He's a generous provider. Okay. So as long as that need is met, on the bad days where I can't stand him, I'm going to be fine. So that's specific and individual to you. Some of us is kindness. For me, a core need in a relationship is that there's kindness and empathy. I don't care what we lose. I don't care what is going on in our lives. I want us to have both of us the quality of empathy and kindness to one another, something I can totally depend on so that when I hate your guts, I know that you're kind to me and that's what's going to make me stay. And you need at least 5 core needs, no more than that. Otherwise, you're going past that 51% requirement. Okay. So, again, this is what my coaches and I do with you in the back end. And we go into your subconscious mind and we go into your stories and we figure out from your patterns what your core needs are. You can do that by yourself if you've got the time and the availability or a therapist. But through looking through your patterns, looking through your past, looking through certain things will help you figure out what your actual core needs are. Okay. And those are important when we're talking about compromising and settling because those are the areas that you won't be able to wiggle. Okay. Those are the areas that you'll be like, I can't wiggle here. I have to stay firm. And if these needs are not being met, then we're not going to be able to go forward. Exactly. Nefertiti says kindness and empathy too. Yes. I don't mind if a man loses everything he has as long as he's able to be kind and empathetic in those moments, right? So we're all different. Some people don't care about that. But for me, this is a core need of mine. All right. So let's talk about things that we can corporately settle or compromise on. Okay. If we want to get married, at the very least, let's settle and compromise at the following. Because if we don't, we're going to miss out on that love boat and we're not going to get married in 2024. We still have half the year and miracles happen here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy. And I want to hear your story. Okay. So let's settle on looks, stroke height. Okay. Let's really think about this. I understand. I get it. If I'm speaking really fast, I want to get as much out as possible before my battery dies or this dies. One of because I didn't, I apologize that I didn't quite charge everything properly. So looks and height, I understand. I do, girls. And I think especially when you're much younger, height seems to matter. But here's what looks and height really matters. It's really about our status. It's really about what our friends are going to say when we walk in with that guy. Can we be honest? Can we put our hands up and say, it's really about our status? We don't want to compromise on looks and we don't want to compromise on height because we want to outdo our friends. We're in some kind of competition, this, that. But also, we fear that we won't have attraction. So here's what I say: compromise on looks, but don't compromise in sexual attraction. Now, you're going to say, well, what I like to look at is what I'm sexually attracted to. But I'm going to say to you, no, sexual attraction doesn't work that way. Sexual attraction works actually on a more primal level. It actually works on the form of pheromones. We breathe in the person's pheromones, goes to the back of our throat to the part of our brain that then decides whether this person's DNA is closest to mom or dad and not too close. So this is why you can be a married woman, see a guy, sit next to a guy, and your body starts lubricating. Why? Because attraction is not something we choose consciously. Okay. Attraction is something that the body plays a very big part in. And sometimes we block that attraction consciously or unconsciously because we have a belief that a man has to be 6 foot, da 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 da, and this for my body to come alive. Some of us, if we're going to be honest, that if we're going to sit in our feminine energy and truly practice femininity from embodiment rather than doing or trying, and I talk about embodying feminine energy on this channel. I talk about it in the Feminine Mastery Masterclass. Again, I'm going to put a link for you to get 40% off. Every time I come on live, I am going to have a link for you to get 40% off any courses that I mentioned, because I don't think it's fair for you to just not be able to get something for showing up live and staying on the call, right? So I'm sure one of the coaches or one of the team will stick the link up, and it will also be in the description link below. So I want you to understand that attraction doesn't work the way that television tells us works. It really doesn't. It's a lot more biochemical. It's a lot more primal. Okay. So some of us have blocks. I have dated guys who was like literally 2 inches taller than me, and I'm 5'2", and I have been so attracted to them. I'm not a height girl. I discovered that way later in life when I came into this information, that I actually have more of a sexual attraction to men who are shorter, but I never got a chance to figure that out because only guys that was over 6 foot would approach me. I think those are the ones who had the confidence to come and talk to me. So I was always dating these tall guys that I had no sexual attraction for. Like, there was no lubrication going on in my body, but I would feel so flattered and so cool walking into the room with that tall, handsome guy. And every girl would be like, Chengi, how do you do it? Oh my God, oh my God. You know, even people who meet my ex-husband are like, how do you dump him? He's so fine, right? Because I've always kind of dated men who were really, really good looking, but I would find myself struggling to get that attraction going, right? So I realized that my body actually chooses men that, my fiance, um, I'm sorry, my battery. I'm gonna have to change. But my fiance was the one who we broke the engagement. I think he must have been like maybe 5'4", not very attractive. And I remember when the engagement ended, all my girlfriends were like, I didn't even think he was good enough for you anyway. And people were like, oh, he wasn't even good looking. And I was thinking, he doesn't have to be good looking for you people. He has to be good looking for me. Okay. Like, I have to like him. I liked him. My body liked him. So if any of you expecting Mama Swan to show up with some good looking man, now if he happens to be good looking, if he happens to be over 6 foot, if he happens to be like the most gorgeous man in the world, and we happen to have attraction, so be it. But I had to really learn that a lot of my relationship choices and where I wasn't willing to compromise when it came to looks was really to do with that I needed to keep an image. I'm a kind of glam girl. I like to look good all the time, as far as possible. And I wanted a man that kind of fit the brand. But I realized that I was just robbing myself, because what I really need is a man that I find sexually attracted to. Right? Nefertiti says her guy was it Sierra? One of you said, Sierra said they were the same height. Yeah. And if your body likes him, your body likes him. A feminine woman needs to navigate the world sexually, especially if you're in your dark feminine energy. How does my body feel around this man? And sometimes you're lubricating and you don't realize because you're blocking yourself up here. So I want you to compromise on whatever you're standing. If you have, he's got to look a certain way, I want to ask you to try this maybe for the next 7 weeks while we're doing the challenge. Even if you're not with us in the program, do it for the next 7 weeks. Just decide, I'm going to eliminate how he looks part, but I am not going to rob myself of sexual attraction. Okay. So maybe try that. See how your body is. Do the dark feminine energy. Learn to get into your sexuality, your desire. Connect with that, and forget about what your friends will think or say. Okay, this is going to be the best piece of advice. If you can win on this level, baby girl, and gentlemen, if you can really be open to what I'm saying and not resist, because I know that there might be some resistance to everything I'm going to say, and that's natural and that's fine. But if you can be open to what I'm saying, I promise you, your world is going to expand. You're going to find yourself having the best sex with the best partners, with the best husband. You're going to have just a beautiful, harmonious marriage where you can raise kids in happiness and still want to go to bed, okay, and still want and can't wait for nighttime. You have to unblock your mind. And if you're feeling really stuck and you can't seem to unblock your mind, it's because there is maybe perhaps some trauma, some unconscious beliefs about yourself and the world that maybe we need to dig into. Okay, because we shouldn't really be so stuck on a look on a man, that we can't honor our soul's desire for love and connection. Okay, like, if we can't seem to budge, then let's talk about some of the trauma. Let's talk about what's really going on, and that's what we're here to help you to do, not to judge you, but to really support you. So if you've never booked a call, this might be a good time for you to do that, because we would love to meet you and talk to you. And on this note, I want to do a survey of all of as many of you as possible. So I'm going to be on Instagram. Please follow on Instagram, because I'm going to put it in my stories on Instagram and maybe my stories here on YouTube as well. But I would love to have a conversation with you ladies. I want to talk to about 20 of you, one to one on a Zoom call. And I just want to get to find out what you need, what you want. I want to understand you better. I feel like sometimes I talk at you. I really want to feel and know what it is that you need. And it's obviously a free call. It's going to be a gift to me. Yeah, okay. And then at the end of that call, you can ask me anything about relationships, and I'll give you a gift to help you personally with your relationship. I'm going to give you some answers. So you're going to have some one-to-one time with me. And I'm only going to do this for the month of August. So I will be giving out that link to the first 20 women, because I really want to get to understand you ladies really, really well and spend some time with you while I'm gallivanting here in the US. Okay, the next thing that I would like us to compromise on, her body, Nefertiti said her body loved him. Thank you, team, for putting the link up for the courses. And I believe the discount code is black40, so it's the same one as the last live. Thank you for that, team. The next thing I want us to really think about settling for is financial. Okay. Yes, I am a woman who believes in men providing for their families. I believe in a man taking full responsibility for the provision of his family. But I also understand that not every man starts there, and that I also understand that favor comes from the Lord when He finds a woman that enables him to get there. Okay. I believe, as a woman of faith, that there are levels of financial bandwidth, and heights and depths a man reaches when he has a wife that he will never reach as a single man, no matter what he does. Okay. So, but when I talk about financial here, I'm not talking about just go get some broke guy. Okay. When we're talking financial, we're talking a hardworking, ambitious man with a plan who's earning a solid income, has a home. Okay. Even if he's renting or buying it, he has space to take on the responsibility of a wife and children. So please don't go and settle for a loser, because Mama Swan said, let's settle on the finances. Okay. This is not that. Okay. We want a man that's hardworking, a man that's ambitious, a man who's prepared to put in the work, and a man above all who has a provider mindset. That means that even if he cannot do 100% right now, that is his goal, that is his mission, that is his assignment. So he's saying, babe, I can only do 60%, I can only do 70%. But it is my goal, my mission, and my assignment as a man and your man to make sure that in the next 5 years, you have the option of not having to work. This is a man that we absolutely can compromise and settle for. This is a man that we are really perhaps overlooking, because some of us want Mr. Six Figures, six pack, and 6 foot. Okay. I know not my black swans, because you have class and you have poise and you have sense and wisdom. Okay. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on this channel. But there's nothing wrong with desiring a man who can provide lavishly, comfortably. I don't want to shame anybody who wants that, because I want that, you want that, we all want that. But I'm don't be following me. I am 47 next week. Okay. I'm grown. I have a baby. I've walked up the aisle. Been there, done that. It's not as urgent for me to, to do that. But if you are younger and you want a family and you want to have companionship, or you're lonely, okay? You're really lonely, please, please, please don't deprive yourself because he can't take me on expensive holidays or buy me expensive things or buy me expensive shoes, baby. None of those things keep you warm at night. None of those things will wipe your bottom when you're sick. None of those things will hold you in the middle of the night when the world is spinning upside down, right? Let's not prioritize the things that honestly don't matter. Your shoes are going to be in the cupboard. Okay, your car will be parked outside and your big mansion will feel empty. What we want in this life is our person, okay? And what I want, lavishly Star says she'd love to stay at home. It's her dream. I'm always so shy to tell friends and families. They think women who stay home are lazy. I know, I know. There's a lot of shaming of feminine women out here, and there's this whole new feminine move that is happening right now that is diabolical. But, we always have to deal with an enemy, and that's okay. We just stay focused on our path, right? You be your authentic self. And if you're like Lavish Star and you want that for your life, don't think you can't have it. You might not be able to have it right away from hello, but I promise if you choose a man that knows what you want, he's going to work for it, because he's just going to be so happy to have a black swan, to have a beautiful woman who can love him and be faithful and loyal to him, that he will want to do that for you, and he's going to be motivated to do that for you. So don't play yourself, right? Get that guy who works hard, who's ambitious, who has a plan, who's working the plan, and who really truly believes in being a masculine provider, even if it can't be right now. If we can do that, I promise you, if we can do point one and point two, we are making some serious progress here, babies. Okay, the second one is passion. This is hard. Passion and excitement is something that is hard to let go of, but I want you to settle for somebody who makes you feel comfortable. I know it sounds boring. I'm sorry, baby girls. I know it sounds boring, but the excitement and the passion and the bad boy vibes, I know, I'm just as bad. I like me a nice naughty boy. It's fun. It's fun. And I don't want to pretend as if it's not fun. I don't but I want to be that religious auntie that's going to pretend like it's not fun. Okay, it's fun. But it gets real old real quick when you have to give birth. It gets old real quick when you actually have to raise children who need stability, who need um, consistency, because the passion, the fun is a lust dimension. Okay, lust is important. Oh my, we have to give up passion. You don't have to, but if you want to get married in 2024 and you really want to secure love, this is one of the blocks that many women have. Now, like I said, just wait for me to explain before you get upset, because my baby, I don't want any of my babies to be upset. Okay, passion. When I say passion, it's not a compromising of sexual attraction. Okay, like I said earlier, passion, as in feeling strongly and powerfully about your partner, that's okay. But what I'm talking about here is these fire brand relationships that are like, oh my God. Those ones, they don't work for the feminine woman long term. They're great if you just want to get laid. They're great if you just want something casual short term. Long term, you need comfort and you need ease. Your nervous system has to be comfortable. And some men make us comfortable and then we call them boring. I get it, I do. But marriage needs comfortable. Marriage needs regulation, because that player or that person who gets your blood rolling and running usually are displaying inconsistencies, because that's what raises lust and excitement and passion is inconsistency, unpredictability, novelty, all of those things great. But we can bring those. The point I'm trying to make is, if you get comfortable, we can work on the rest. We can bring passion in. We can bring I'm currently in school to be a nurse. I graduate next year. I have two children from a previous situation. I'm still dating, but I feel you have to work to feel valuable. Absolutely. I don't think I can do all three. I know, I know. This is not going to be easy. I want you to rewatch it again. Go away, have a breathe. I did give a trigger warning at the beginning. Just breathe through all of these, okay? Because it's going to be hard to take in. Um, I know that we're looking for passion outside, but that's because of that 49% we're not doing. I have a very exciting life. I've decided that my life has to be exciting. I packed everything up in London and just decided I want to visit, I want to travel. I want to bring that 49% of excitement and passion and things into my own life so that when the man meets me, I'm not looking to him to bring it. And this is the problem that I was discussing in the beginning. But I don't want to get waylaid. Let's get back to that passion. You can build novelty into comfort. You can build inconsistency, surprises, new experiences into a comfortable connection. And when I say comfortable, I mean that there's trust, there is safety, right? There's trust and safety, especially if you have children, seashells. If you have three children, they don't need mom going wild, and they don't need a man. And sorry, my battery. And they don't need a man who's just gonna go wild. I'm gonna have to put the microphone down and just hope there isn't too much noise interference. Okay. I hope you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me because we don't have a microphone anymore, so I'm depending on the speakers on my phone to get to you because I want to finish this for those of you. When you have children, especially if you want children, especially if you're at a stage maybe where you're not wanting to get married or have children, chase all that passion. Go do that. Go get that out of your system. Okay, go find the naughtiest boy. Exactly, needs somebody making mom genuinely happy. And when you're genuinely happy and you have sexual attraction, to your partner, and they are working hard to be a provider, honestly, not only are you setting a good example, but you're healing your own body, you're healing yourself. And women that don't want this, if this is too hard for you, there's a lot of father wounding, right? We can't ignore the wounds. I hope you can hear me. We cannot ignore the wounds. So we need to address the wounds because some of us are chasing these things because we're chasing dad. There's so many layers, like I said, on a psychological, spiritual, physical level that we need to discuss, which is why we provide that one-to-one coaching, not to make money off you, but to actually really help you do that deep dive so that we can deal with some of these things. So if you're experiencing a lot of resistance to what I'm saying, these are father wounds, okay? Thank you, Nefertiti. These are father wounds. These are mother wounds, and they're sabotaging you. If you're like, Chengi, there's no way I can be with a man I find physically attractive when my friends don't. With Houston, we have issues. That's the dad that didn't come to school. That's the dad that didn't come for your recital. That's the dad that was absent, who, when all your other friends' dads were there, you are now looking for this man to be that dad, to give you that same feeling that that little girl wanted when dad didn't show up, right? That's what's going on there. That's a deep wound that we need to deal because daddy maybe wasn't there for you because he was working all the time. And so now you want a husband when he shows up, everybody knows my man is here and look at him, he's so gorgeous, hoo hoo hoo. And you're denying yourself your actual real needs. If you are having problems with he's got to be able to do 10, all of this and all of this is because you grew up in poverty. Okay, if you women that grow up in poverty are the ones that insist on 6 figures, 6 foot, you know, women that gold dig, you have a history of poverty. There was lack in your home. Okay, and a man can't come and fix that. We have to deal with your money wounds. We have to deal with your money stories because we have money stories, and these are things that are blocking you. So if we're having a hard time, money, cash itself has never kept you warm at night. It's never satisfied you. Buying things has never satisfied the human soul. But what it does is it helps your ego do the best it can to meet, to heal those wounds. And the ego is never going to give you the best, most ethical, reliable way. So, if we're having a hard time saying, look, a hardworking, ambitious man is not what I want, he's got to be rich, that's got nothing to do with that. You're not that girl. You're better than that. You have some wounds. And if the passion piece is hard for you, you just have to have so much excitement. That is that anxious attachment. That is that looking for, the parent that was never there. That is, that's a deep wound of always being dysregulated. So I'll tell you, I had a client, and I had this happen to me as well, so I can talk about myself. Every single time something tragic would happen, I would almost have a spontaneous orgasm. My body would just, and I would find myself, if there was ever a pressurizing situation or a really horrible situation, I would just have a spontaneous orgasm. And I had no idea what that was. I felt weird, horrible, like, why am I in the middle of the worst situation right now? And instead of crying and breaking down, I'm having an orgasm. And I have had this, women have told me this so many times in my sessions, that this is what happens to me, Chengi, and I don't know why. Here's why. I was raised in a lot of chaos. My home, there was a lot of violence. The way things were handled in my home was objects flying across the room, bricks being thrown at people's heads, punches. I mean, my home was so chaotic. Either the chaos came from aunties and uncles coming in, I don't know what it is, but I was raised in so much chaos and so much violence that as a child, my nervous system was regulated to chaos. And so my brain, to cope so that I wouldn't, because the brain has to find a coping mechanism, and it has to also find a way to help you go through it. What would happen as a child is, obviously I would get aroused as a child because it was better for my brain to arouse me and to send those signals down to my brain. Also, those of you who know me know that I was also sexually molested as a child. So if you've been following me, you know that those things were real too. So combine the two of them, and my brain just learned to give me some kind of physical pleasure when I was going through hell. So how did that translate? Is dating men that were bad for me was a turn on, right? So you may not be as bad as me. You might not get all of this, you may not have had that sexual response every time something bad was happening, but you are turned on by these things. These things are trauma, right? You shouldn't be turned on when somebody's treating you badly. You shouldn't be turned on when somebody's inconsistent. You shouldn't be turned on when somebody is playing with you. If you're getting turned on, we have some issues, right? So I had to go and deal with, I've worked on myself for very many years, and as a result I've become happier, healthier, and able to help as many women as God would let me do in my living lifetime. But I want you to know that if you're having a hard time saying, you know what, Chengi, I have to have that passion, that's not about that. That's not about that. There's more to that. There's more to your story. And I'm truly compassionate to it because, my story is not a good story. A lot of people see me and they think, Chengi's always been this way. I haven't. I haven't always been a regulated woman. I've not always been a wise woman. I've not always been a woman that loves herself. I had to consciously and deliberately do that. And as I did that and overcame, I created courses and I created the Soulmate, and I continue to show up every single day because that's my mission, to help you go as far as I've gone and further. Okay, so passion is important. We can create passion in relationships. We can create passion for ourselves. But we shouldn't be like, oh, I don't get the spark. He doesn't give me the butterflies. Those butterflies, those are nervous system reactions. Okay? That's just the truth, girly whirlies. Butterflies are nervous system reaction. That's just your body reacting and responding, usually to danger. All right? Thank you, Bunniness. Amen. We are healed and delivered from those dating unavailable men. Amen. Said Chikar, you're so welcome. I grew up in poverty, and I've never seen a woman be taken care of ever. I've never seen a man provide, and I've always dreamt of having a provision ever since I found out about my femininity in the 20s. I love that. I love that for you, and I believe that's possible for you, and that's what's possible for Black Swans. That's what's possible for my clients. That's what's possible for every woman that commits herself to the Black Swan journey. And I want you to know that it is completely possible. Just because you didn't grow up seeing it doesn't mean that it doesn't have to be your portion. It doesn't mean that for the rest of your life you will never know it. I promise you, if you step into your femininity and you listen to what Mama Swan has to say, and you don't push back on everything, you're allowed to push back on stuff. I that autonomy and is so important to me, because I never want anyone to feel controlled or bullied here in the Black Swan Relationship Academy. Everything I give is just so that you can prosper and flourish, okay? But if you do listen to what I am telling you, I promise you, you are going to find fulfillment and contentment in this life, okay? And the world tells us we need fireworks and balloons and sugar and candy to be happy. But happiness is really about a regulated nervous system, a connection that is real, that is authentic to another human who feels exactly the same way about us. Where is the link to have a one-to-one? Either I'm going to leave it in the description, or if one of the team are on live right now, they'll put the link in the chat here for you. So that I'm really glad that you want to do that. So yeah, you can have that. The Black Swan Relationship Academy is called the Black Swan because I believe that the people that have been forgotten, that nobody thinks exists, or whatever you don't think is possible, you're going to have your Black Swan experience. You hang around here, you're going to have a Black Swan experience. You're going to have an experience of life you never thought was possible. That's what the Black Swan life is about. That's what I've been able to create for myself. That's what I've been able to create for my clients. And that's what I'm here to create for you. Okay? And that's why I'm coming on here live. You know, there are a lot of energy to give, and we're just here to do it. You know, we're here to do it because we're in it for the right reasons. The last one is spirituality. So they're just four. Okay, and I'm going to talk about spirituality, and I want you to know that I speak of this with a great deal of sensitivity, and I speak of this with a knowledge and an understanding. Love you too, Esmella. Of what it may or may not mean. Okay, this is not to upset anybody, but I just really want to pray and hope that you will give me the bandwidth to explain, or at least I pray that you will receive understanding. Okay, spirituality. A lot of us, you know, I watch a lot of preachers who are very well meaning, a lot of pastors with big names, a lot of spiritual leaders with big followings and with a lot of spiritual authority speak on this. And they're telling you girls to don't marry a man who doesn't pray for you. Don't marry a man who doesn't cover you in prayer. Don't marry a man who doesn't know the word left to right, right to left. Don't marry a man who is not able to get down on the knees and pray with you. And don't marry a man. And here's what I want to say about that. I agree. In a perfect world, I agree, in a world where men go to church. Now, I don't even want to, I'll be here for another 2 hours, but the church is not designed for masculine energy. That's the statement that I'm going to leave out there. The church, as it is presently, is not designed for masculine energy. I was at my sister's church the other day, and I was just observing, because I have a fellowship with the coaches and a few women. That's our church, but I haven't been to an official kind of church in a very, very long time. But we pray, we prophesy, we sing, we fast. We're a church, because we're two or more gathered, right? And as a former pastor in my younger years, I understand how to lead a community spiritually, but I'm not a pastor, so don't come asking me. But you can join High Value Girls Pray, where we all pray together on Facebook. It's called High Value Girls Pray, and Coach Yvonne is in there praying with you and speaking a word of encouragement. I think Coach Nadine was in there soon, and I will also be there because I really want to engage the community in prayer. Know that I love God more than I love anything or anyone in this whole wide world, so I say this with deep reverence. And this applies to women who are of other religions and spirituality as well. The church will not attract masculine men as long as the church does what the church is doing. But it doesn't mean that the men that are not coming to church don't know God, don't love God, and don't have an expression of their faith. Some of us are disqualifying men because they're not heavy hitters, tongue talking, Bible bashing, jumping up and down the church men, and we are really losing out on the opportunity to be in loving relationships. I want you to understand that men tend to mirror the depths and seriousness of their woman's faith. Feminine energy connects more to religion than masculine energy does. Okay. And some of us have decided that unless he is tongue talking, Bible preaching, blah, 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 we're not even going to consider him. Some of us won't even date a man who has just come into the faith because he's got to be tongue talking, he's got to be able to prophesy and preach and be a priest in his household. You're going to be single for forever. It doesn't work that way. I was music magic, bro. I'm gonna marry you. Who's that? Who are you gonna marry? You know, men. My sister, also my sister this weekend, I'm gonna use, and I hope she won't mind because they're very private. My family, they don't like me using them for social media. But this is such a praiseworthy thing. When she met her husband, he wasn't saved. She was. And they were dating for a very long time, and you know, she influenced him because feminine energy is influential, and he started going to church. And one of the things I love of my sister, she's never imposed her faith on her man. She's always just lived out her faith, because the Bible says, you know, our living out of our faith is what will convict the man, not the demands, not the pressure we put on them, not these rules, but the living out of our actual faith. The Bible says, if you're a woman, you're with a man that's not saved, or you're married to a man that's not saved, and I know that there are conditions around, I don't want to get into theology, but I want to just pull out the principle, okay? Let your actions minister, but it doesn't say your actions are going to convert him overnight. I was with my brother-in-law the other day, and I was just sharing a struggle that I was going through. He prophesied to me. He prophesied. This man prophesied. He sat and he said, Chengi, I'm going to tell you the word of the Lord concerning you right now in this moment. As I hear you speaking, I'm hearing the Lord speaking. And I want to tell you that this is the word of the Lord concerning you in this moment. This man prophesied into me. I looked at my sister. I looked at him. I looked at my sister, and I was in awe of what God has done. And I sat there and I thought to myself, what a shame, because my sister could have just done, he can't be a priest over the household. He can't preach to me. He can't lay his hands and cover me in prayer. He can't read the Bible and give me revelation, so I'm not going to marry him. She could have done that. But 17 years later, she is with a man who is prophetic, powerful. I said to her, because when I met my ex-husband, he was a Buddhist, and he gave his life to the Lord because of the way that I live my faith. And he is now a man of God. He preaches. He's got a community, and we're great friends. We're never going to be married again. We shouldn't have married in the first place. But he came to the Lord, and he is a mighty man of God. You know, we don't always agree on doctrine, but there are people that honor and respect him all over the world. And we're raising an amazing son together. But when I met him, he was a Buddhist. But because I wasn't raised in that kind of religiosity that said, unless he can stand on the pulpit and preach and be as good as your pastor, he makes him worthy. No, what we want is a man that shares our faith, whatever your faith is. We want a man that shares our faith, who believes in the Lord Jesus Christ, who believes he's the Son of God, and a man who has good values and virtues, a man who embodies Christian life outside of the church. He doesn't have to be able to preach. He doesn't have to pray over you. He doesn't have to be a priest over the family, and all of these heavy duty things we're putting on men. He has to be a man who lives a life of integrity. He has to be a man whose yes is yes and his no is no. He has to be a man of loyalty, a man that provides, a man who, if you look through scripture, you will see that he lives the Christian faith. Because I have so many clients who come to me and they're dating Christian men who cheat, who are hooked on pornography, but because they can recite scripture, she's impressed. He treats her badly. He covers her with violence, but he goes to church. He's a man of God. He never misses a service. That is not a man of God. A man of God is a person who lives. My brother-in-law takes care. My sister is a high earning woman. She earns a lot of money. She earns more than him, but she pays for nothing. My sister is a high six-figure earner, but she pays for nothing but her own. Her problem is I'm always ordering on Amazon. Chengi, I need to fix it. And he's the one that brings in the boxes. She doesn't pay for anything. That is a godly man. He doesn't require his wife to have money. He pays. He takes care of his family because he's that guy. And always has been that guy. Always has been that guy. He cherishes her. Whatever she needs, whatever she wants. He takes care of her and he takes care of our family. When he heard I was coming over, he gave me the money to come over because they knew I wanted to come over. He doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to do that. That's a man who has a generous soul. My brother-in-law will cook for me. He will cook. My sister said I shouldn't talk about him because every time I talk about women start to go and hunt him down. Okay. So, but the point I'm making is I can only talk about a man I know. And this is true of so many men who are just so good. They're so good. They're so good. They will provide for you. They will cherish you. They will be loyal to you. They will be faithful to you. But I know women who will say point blank, no, non-negotiable. If he cannot recite scriptures, if he cannot stand in the middle of the house and speak in tongues and stamp his feet and go to church every Sunday, I don't want to know. This saddens me a great deal because it's not reality. It's not life. A man who is going to provide, who is going to protect you, who is going to cherish you, cannot also be in 4 services at church, running everything at the church. He doesn't even have to be there. That's just the bottom line, the truth. What he has to have is an accountability circle. No, she doesn't. My sister is not honest. She's like, take his name out of your stuff. So I know she won't watch this one, and nobody knows who he is anyway, because I'm not allowed to post him or mention him, you know. But you know, I want us to know that love is not far away. We are being blocked by the enemies of our soul. You know, they are external strongholds and then they're internal strongholds. We can go to war against the external strongholds, but the internal strongholds, they will constantly get in the way. I do have another one, but I don't have time to speak. So maybe I will come back on and tell you the other one because I need to go and actually, you know, have a drink of water and have something to eat because I'm starving. I do have a 4th one. It will be on the reel. That is going to come out soon. And I really want to have this conversation. That 5th one that I have for you, that's a whole conversation. That's a whole life by itself. And I want to have that conversation with you because that's another one that's going to take a lot of swallowing and breathing through. But I believe that if you can consider all 4 that I've shared with you today and the 5th one that I'm going to share with you, I might pop on tomorrow actually, so keep an eye out because I know tomorrow I've got a window of time. I will share that with you. But I want you to realize that if these are the main pillars that are stopping women from actually giving men the chances that they need and giving themselves. You know, I don't really believe in giving men a chance. I do believe in giving ourselves a chance. We need to give ourselves a chance to love. And what that looks like and what it should look like is when the lights go out, that means the sun goes down and everybody is locked up inside of their home, and We close the door. Am I alone? Still waiting for a unicorn? Or do I have somebody who loves me and cares about me and would turn the world upside down and would rescue me, would leave his bed in the middle of the night because his wife is stuck somewhere and he's not going to let AA be the one to rescue her? Do I have a partner who cares about my aging mom and my aging parents and my sisters? Do I have somebody for me? When I'm filling in those forms for my doctor, do I have my next of kin as Jack? And I know Jack will be there. And I know that if anything was to happen to me and they needed permission to, to resuscitate or not, that Jack would make the right decision for me. Because that's what matters. That's what matters. Can I be with a man that comes home to me? You know, he wants to come home to me. He doesn't want to stop by at Jane's house, at Sarah's house. I want a man who wants to please me, not please the whole world. Because we're choosing men that look good on paper, men that look good on Instagram, men that feed the ego, but leave us bereft, worthless, tired, exhausted, fighting to be treated well. I think somebody here said, the beautiful mom with 3 kids. She's tired of fighting to be treated well. And that's what happens when we prioritize all the wrong things. Somebody asked me, Chengi, are women's standards too high? And I said, no, they're too low. Women's standards are too low. We have prioritized things that just don't matter, but we're so low on the things that matter. You are a living soul. You are a living soul, precious one. You are not your body. You are not the pictures on Instagram. You are not what other people think you are. You are not the image of who you think you are. You are a living soul. And that soul has very specific needs to be handled well, to be cherished, to have connection, to belong, to procreate, to create. If you don't want to have children, then to create, to co-create. If you don't want to procreate, you can co-create. Our souls have very deep needs. And when we close the door to the rest of the world, we want somebody who's going to help us with that 51%, who's going to help us with expansion. No one is going to care if you marry a guy who's shorter than you would have wanted him to be, not as handsome as you wanted to be, but you create the most beautiful family and you create the most beautiful life and you have all the beautiful things. I always say to women, when we go to a wedding, who is really doing at the groom? Who cares? At the wedding, nobody cares if your groom is 4 foot or 9 foot, whether he's fat or slim. Nobody cares. Everybody's looking out the door waiting for the beautiful bride to come in. And all your friends are jealous, not because you're marrying the most handsome man in the world. They're just jealous that you're getting married. They're jealous that you get to have your special day, that you get to have problems like, what am I going to wear on my wedding day? Nobody cares after the day, after the pictures are taken. Nobody cares if you're closing the door to a 6-foot guy or not. And some of us are killing ourselves and going through hell behind closed doors where safety should welcome you. Some of us are not safe. We're not going home to safety. So if you really feel like you need support, we're here for you. Go to blackswanrelationshipacademy.com. On the front page, you're going to have multiple things that you might be struggling with. Choose one of those. In there will be some courses that we recommend for that. Will be how to get a hold of a coach. We've tried to make it as easy as possible. Book yourself a coach, book yourself a consultation, and or join the Magnet Mastery program that I'm running for the next 7 weeks, because I will be physically in there supporting and helping. And that is going to be a great program, and it's going to be the cheapest you'll ever have access. So pay by PayPal, do what you can to be on there. There are a few spaces left, and again, the links are all here. So between that and the courses and my next live, I wish you all the best. Have a wonderful day. I love you to bits and pieces. You are loved. Bye bye now.